In 1985, the movie Back to the Future told the story of a car so unique and ahead of its time that it could travel through time when it reached speeds of 88 miles per hour. With its Flux Capacitor and 1.6 million horsepower engine, the DeLorean DMC-12 is the stuff of legend among film heads and car buffs alike. More than 37 years after the movie's release, the DeLorean Motor Company is finally ready to make a real-world version called the DeLorean Alpha5 EV, and there's no shortage of excitement about the possibilities it could offer. We know you have a lot of questions like, what impressive features will the Alpha have? How similar is it to the 1985 DeLorean DMC-12? And most importantly, does it still travel through time? Well, keep watching to find out. In a commercial that aired just before the start of the Super Bowl in February of 2022, the DeLorean Motor Company teased the return of the legendary DeLorean to the 21st century, with the message, "The future was never promised," in a tweet that read, "Reimagine today." The tweets accompanying the video, which lasted 15 seconds, showed the classic gold-wing doors in a silhouette of the vehicle. The hashtags in the tweet also seemed to suggest features of the car that got fans excited, while hinting that the car would be a luxury vehicle. The DeLorean is a movie and automobile icon, and surprisingly, it has taken this long for a manufacturer to consider bringing it back. But we're more than happy that someone has finally decided to take the leap and bring the car back to the future. We're also super stoked that they have gone out of their way to keep the original company name, so fans of the movie and, indeed, the super fast time-traveling car know exactly what they're getting. The Alpha 5 will definitely be different from the DMC-12, but what feature sets them apart? In the movie, the DeLorean was powered by a nuclear reactor, a bolt of lightning, and renewable resources from the garbage. The Alpha 5 will also run on non-fossil fuel, but in a different way. It will be powered by a 100 kilowatt battery and will have enough juice to travel more than 300 miles on a full charge. The Alpha 5, which is set to be released in 2024, is capable of going from 0 to 60 miles per hour in only 2.99 seconds, meaning that it would reach the magic mark of 88 miles per hour that the DMC-12 needed to travel through time in only 4.35 seconds. Its dual-motor, all-wheel drive arrangement will enable it to reach a top speed of 155 miles per hour, which is almost double the speed of the car in the movie. The most recognizable feature of the DMC-12, however, wasn't really how fast it can go, but rather the upswing gold doors that made Marty and Doc look so cool when they got into the car on their next adventure. The good news is that the doors that made the DMC-12 appear even more futuristic as it veered through the night sky like a spaceship have been kept for the latest model of the DeLorean. However, little modifications like the size of the door have come into play. The gold-wing doors have become even larger, with the open doors showing the entirety of the interior of the car, serving as the entry point for the two seats on each side. In addition to the doors, they also kept the window blinds in the rear view and made them into a more modern, slimmer version of the ones we're all used to. This, as well as the car's smooth, glossy exterior and its curved edges, make it impressively aerodynamic. The exterior also features large wheels that support the structure of the car, even though, like many other EVs, it is not suspended too high off the ground. It also has slender lights at the front and rear that add to its comic book feel. The interior of the DeLorean from the future will see a major upgrade with state-of-the-art tapestry and electronics. The car is fitted for 4 seats, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. There's also a multi-functional touchscreen sitting at the top of the center console that separates the two sides of the car. Its wheel comprises both a flat-bottomed steering wheel and a freestanding digital instrument cluster, which makes it look like it could actually travel through time. To pander to fans of the original DeLorean, the digital screen on the dashboard also has the ability to mimic the dashboard from the DMC-12. The Alpha 5 will be able to import your phone contacts. It will do more than just enable phone calls and texts. Once synced, people on your contact list will have their locations placed on the live map screen as you travel to remind you where they live or work nearby, providing an avenue to remember to keep in touch with your pals. Its interior is described as an environment to encourage human experience and connections, and aims to create a balance between artificial support and human control, a halfway compromise between intelligent, intuitive human design and craftsmanship. The reason we can have a DeLorean so in tune with current car trends is that the designers of the car, Ital Designs, who, incidentally, also worked on the original DMC-12, have plugged in the nearly 40 years of latency by creating concepts of what cars on the DMC line would have looked like through the years. They created the Alpha 2 and the Alpha 4 before finally reaching the Alpha 5. The new DeLorean Motor Company is also hoping to do better with the Alpha 5 than the original company did with the DMC-12 in terms of commercial success. Though the Back to the Future films elevated the DeLorean cars to unrivaled cultural awareness, it's easy to forget that the car itself was an absolute flop. The original DeLorean Motor Company failed after only 7 years in business between 1975 and 1982 due to quality control concerns that only contributed to a general lack of demand for the automobile itself. By the time the firm went bankrupt, it was thought that just 10,000 DeLoreans had been produced, with around 5,000 or more reportedly still running and on the road today. Even so, the sales numbers were only boosted by the notoriety of John C. DeLorean and the appearance of the car in the movie 3 years after the company closed. Despite sharing the same name as the short-lived DMC, it's worth mentioning that the team behind this new Alpha 5 EV has nothing to do with the first one formed by John Z. DeLorean, who was famously arrested in a high-profile cocaine trafficking case in the early 1980s, as he struggled to keep his company afloat while Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis were still writing the movie. He was eventually acquitted of the charges, but his company never recovered and eventually shut its doors in 1982. When the rights to the DeLorean name became available in 1995, a Texas-based firm owned by Stephen Wynn that made replacement components of the original automobile purchased the brand and founded the new DeLorean Motor Company. With the famous DeLorean automobile from Back to the Future at the fore of their minds, they decided to leverage its place in culture and recognize its already utopian design and legend would make it a great car for the 21st century market as well. The DeLorean is still adored and retains its place in popular culture, so it definitely makes sense to bring it back. A preview of the car was seen at the Pebble Beach Concourse d'Elegance in August, when a concept version was showcased. Although there is still no specific release date for the DeLorean Alpha 5 to be launched, it is expected sometime in 2024. The price of the Alpha 5 is believed to be in the range of $175,000, which is a steep price to pay compared to the $25,000 it cost to obtain a DMC-12 when it first launched. There will be 88 track-only cars released initially before the major production runs, paying homage to the speed the original DeLorean needed to reach for time travel. DMC believes so much in the relaunch of the Alpha 5 EV that it intends to release further models, including a battery-powered sedan, a sports coupe, and, more imaginatively, a hydrogen-powered SUV. These aren't too far from the plans the original DMC had for variations of the DMC-12, which include the DMC-24, a 4-seater automobile, the DMC-44, a lightweight 4x4 off-road vehicle, and the DMC-80, a public transit bus. Unfortunately, the DeLorean Alpha 5 does not have the capacity for a flux capacitor and might not be able to travel to the future or the past, but is every bit as remarkable as the DMC-12. Are you excited about the launch of the DeLorean Alpha 5 in 2024? Do you think the new company has stuck with the ideals of the old? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, you can check out other videos on our channel for more car content.